was a part of me that had always been there, that had gotten put to sleep very early on. What worked for me was learning to trust that place, because I was taught not only that it didn't exist, but that if it should occur in any way, don't trust it. Human body, head center, heart center, and moving center, or belly brain, as we call it. And inside of each of these centers are sub-centers. Now, Native Americans, a lot of the Eastern traditions, have identified these centers as chakras, which in Sanskrit means spinning wheel. So inside of each of these centers, there are certain functions, both physical, mental, emotional, psychological, that they perform. They have certain functions in terms of glands, internal organs. I'm not going to get into all that. What I'm going to do here specifically as it pertains to warrior work, how these centers work. Chakra. When this center is open, that is a fully enlightened, fully awake, fully aware being. It's like the Christ consciousness or the Buddha consciousness. We've never had that happen in a workshop, but you never know, maybe today. Maybe you, Bam Bam. Second one is third eye. That center is your sense of humor, it's your psychic abilities, it's your ability to communicate beyond physical, beyond time and space, presensions, precognition, all of that stuff that's there. I encounter come out of their head. So that means you think their way through their reality. Now, the problem with that is the normal thought process is really one beat behind reality. Now, I'm not saying you don't need your head center. You do need it. You need to be able to think and reason. I mean, somebody's got to balance the checkbook, right? But it is not the center that we live our lives from. It's your voice in the world. It's your creative expression. It's the ability to ask for what you want. Take it in when it's offered. Receive it. It's the ability to speak the unspeakable, and for people who are survivors of any kind of abuse, and I would be willing to suspect that almost everybody in this room has survived something, speak the unspeakable. Just put your truth out there. Speak your truth. Is root chakra. Contained in this chakra, in the center, is everything that you need to know on how to survive, how to take care of yourself. You come with it, hardwired in. We all have it. And very early on, for most human beings, it's put to sleep. Second chakra, right above the pubic bone, is our sexual center. We all know how much power there is in our sexuality. In that center is also the ability to read intent. In other words, this center lets you know when you're in danger. It reads emotional climate in the room. It gives you information about what's going on around you. Almost everyone here has had an experience of their gut contracting. Right? What does that mean? That information, and all of a sudden the head center committee up here kicks in and says, oh, no, don't do that. No, that's not right. The primary difference between the head center now, so really where your life is taking place, this moment now. And the head center is one beat behind reality, one beat behind the conscious mind. I'm talking about the head center in terms of the chakras with the conscious mind. Where we spend a lot of our time and hang out a lot up there. And it doesn't stop their life out of fear of making those mistakes. Here's what is a mistake anyway. Can you see how this applies to warrior work? Because what is a warrior? It's a lot bigger than just knowing how to defend ourselves, right? A warrior is the part of us that speaks the truth, isn't afraid to live their life on their own terms. A warrior is the part of ourselves that identifies and stands up to tyrants, both internal and external. The warrior first faces inside and sees what it is that we need to change about ourselves so that we can continue to grow. And then turns and faces outward and sees what we need to do to change the world. Face inward and heal that part of myself. The violence or the fear or the anger or the grief. Then when I turn and face outward again, miraculously, that has shifted for me in my experience. So I begin where I can. As a warrior, I begin where I can. And where I can begin is with the self. What brings you to this circle? What brings you to the circle of the martial arts community? Whether it's the self-defense component or classically training, what brings you here? Most people who approach the art are motivated by fear. Whether or not it is conscious, I know that I certainly was. That I knew that this was a way for me to identify where that fear lived, to step up to it, and to transmute it. Until we do that, fear is a filter. It's a lens that we look through and we perceive our reality, and our reality becomes distorted. You can't take your conscious mind into combat. If you do, you're too slow. You can't take your fear into combat. Screw up your timing. Or your anger. It's got to be absolutely clear. Just doing my job, whatever it takes to get the job done. So what happens when fear switches on all the time? More than a little adrenaline is poison.
My points of view with compassion, and oftentimes my own story will get another person to realize their own story.
That's good.
For me, obviously I'm 6'4", 225 pounds. Why would I fear anything? But it's there. Technique or a movement, because of your body structure, your attitude, your upbringing, the way that you look at things, all of a sudden I get an opportunity to see it from a different perspective, and it adds dimension to me.
I'm Grandmaster McLeod, and I would like to talk a little bit about different styles and different martial arts systems. A lot of martial arts systems are 200, 300 years old. I've studied systems that are 1,500 years old. And some of them work very well in those days. A lot of systems like that don't work very well today. Society has changed. People have guns now. We have people who attack in packs now. Society has less respect. And so therefore, in order to make a system work like Yen Ching Tao, we do make changes. We change the philosophy. We get more into the mental philosophy, such as APE, which is awareness, prevention, preparation, empowerment, and execution. And a lot of situations you can get out of or prevent using the mental concept versus the physical concepts.